The kingmakers who would have a big say in who becomes Nigeria's president in 2023. Welcome to the news, and thank you for turning in to listen. As the election year 2023 approaches, we consider the men whose influence and opinion would matter most in who emerges Nigeria's president. Call them the kingmakers and you will be correct. These men would widespread influence and power, and over time have always had a hand in who led the nation. This is where we call them, or these people can also be called the cabals. Those who Nigerian, after making the whole a little or one third or one fourth of Nigeria, comes out and they contest. I mean, they come out for election. They come out and they elect their preferred candidate. Meanwhile, these people have already done their own election. Selection is now done after these state cabals have done their own election. Let's see if they're going to call some names of those cabals. Now the news in detail. Incidentally, all four men have a military background. They are retired military generals. First on the list is Olusegun Obasanjo, formerly called as OBJ, or Baba Iyabo. Obasanjo was the nation's military head of state from 1976 to 1979. He later led the nation as a civilian president for 2 terms of 8 years from 1999 to 2007. As the military head of state, he was instrumental to the emergence of his successor, Alhaji Shehu Shagari. As a civilian president, he single-handedly picked the late Omar Musa Yar'Adua as his successor in 2007 at the expiration of his tenure. He equally unpicked Goodluck Jonathan as Yar'Adua's running mate. Then Jonathan took over from Yar'Adua following the latter's death. Obasanjo supported Jonathan's bid for the presidency in 2011 and Jonathan won. However, sometime into Jonathan's first term in office, something went wrong between the two men and Obasanjo withdrew his support for the administration. That marked the beginning of a downfall of that administration. The relationship between both men degenerated at the point where OBJ, in his characteristic fashion, penned down a scathing open letter to Jonathan. In the letter, he accused Jonathan of having drawn up a hit list of people to eliminate, which included him. From that time on, the discerning political pundits knew that it would take a miracle for Jonathan to get a second term. At the height of this squabble between both men escalated, Obasanjo officially denounced his membership of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) by publicly tearing his membership card. He then threw his weight behind the then opposition All Progressive Congress (APC) and its presidential candidate, Muhammadu Buhari. The rest, as they say now, is history. The second on the list is Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, who many fondly call IBB. Like Obasanjo, Babangida was the nation's military head of state from 1985 to 1993. In his days as the head of state, Babangida proved that he is quintessential politician. He was so good at playing the political game that Nigerians nicknamed him Maradona after the great Argentine soccer legend famous for his dribbling skills. But he made many men across the nation, both in the military and the civil society. Back then, these men were commonly referred to as the Babangida boys. Some of these men who are in places of authority and power today are still loyal to him. This is where IBB draws its power and influence from. Although his influence seems to have waned slightly these days, partly because of his failing health, he is still relevant in the political scheme of things. That is why his Hilton Mansion residence in Minna, Niger State is still a mecca of some sort for politicians who go to seek his endorsement for political positions. Muhammadu Buhari, the current president, will no doubt have a big say in who succeed him in 2023. However, the only thing that qualifies him to feature on this list is that he is the incumbent president. He may have the biggest say at the end of the day, but take away his influence as the incumbent president, he cannot be considered a kingmaker. Abdul Salami Abubakar was briefly the nation's military head of state from 1998 to 1999. he handed over power to Obasanjo as the civilian president. That singular act of conducting a smooth transition from military to civilian rule endeared him to many Nigerians. It is the reason for his influence to date. Abubakar has stayed away from active politics since he handed over power to a civilian government. He has rather chosen to play the noble role of a statesman. He wields his influence subtly, but he is by no means influential. Nigerians pay close attention to the utterances and action of this man, especially when it comes to presidential politics. That is why they have a say in who becomes the nation president. And without a doubt, they will influence the choice of the next president. Let me say this over and over again. Coming out to say people are influential, please. They are influential people through rigging. Yes, we have hardly had a free and fair election in this country. When I say a free and fair election, I don't mean at state levels. I mean at presidential level. It is because of the fear of free and fair election that is what is making Buhari not to sign that bill into law. I don't care what they're talking about. I do not care. I do not care what anybody is saying that this one is good. And as far as I'm concerned, if they're not going to give Nigerians that opportunity to pick a whole lot of competent persons, first of all, then later come down to pick the most competent out of the competent persons they have picked, then there's a problem. Whoever wrote this article does not understand the politics in Nigeria. If the elections are not rigged, anybody Buhari supports will win the presidential elections. Forget the rantings. The main thing never starts. The Northerners don't disappoint their own, particularly the way the Southerners have shown him so much hate. They rally behind this candidate. Watch and see. You think so? Anybody that does that is going to be called. They have already called us Olodo, that we don't have sense, that we are voting in people who does not have sense. If you like, come 2023 election, vote in somebody again on the basis of your stomach infrastructure, and watch how your children will curse you for being a part of their misfortune when they arrive. Posterity will not be kind to you. This one is not a matter of it's so harsh. Posterity will not be kind to you. If you that was supposed to help build Nigeria, you end up being the person who brings Nigeria to its knees. Okay, on this note, we have come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen. And until I come your way next time, enjoy the rest of the day.